got a first ever continental winner in Gotham FC this weekend in the CONCACAF W Champions Cup final. It was Gotham FC taking on Tigres from Liga MX Femenil, the first ever inaugural tournament. And it was full of great saves, exciting attack, a lot that went into it. We also got to see a semifinal game, Portland taking on Club America. That one ultimately ended, though, with Portland Thorns taking the 3-0 win. But Gotham, it was just a 1-goal win thanks to Esther Gonzalez over Tigres. This was really fun. Gotham was so hype after this game to lift this trophy, as they should be, because they've punched their ticket now to the FIFA Champions Cup next January and also the Club World Cup to premiere in 2028. But we got to see, Sandra, a good Liga MX side in Tigres give their best against a Gotham team, but also ultimately the NWSL side reigned supreme at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I love to talk about Liga MX Femenil, and I feel a great sense of pride to have seen the run that Tigres went on during this inaugural competition. But I think there was something underneath all of that where we knew, just maybe with Gotham being more informed, they were likely going to maybe take this inaugural cup. I think there was a little bit of a layer of scares just because of the performance that the Tigres had in the semifinal. So many of these question marks around players who were injured now finding themselves available, and really the sort of just hunger that they were going to go into this final with. There was a lot of question marks around their team, not just with injuries, but what are they going to look like in the future? I mean, Ovalle has been a player at this point in her career who has had swirls upon swirls of rumors of movement. You know, when and where and how will she depart Tigres? And in the lead up to this final, taking photos with all of these titles that she's won with Tigres, folks like to try to read in between lines that maybe aren't there. Like, is this going to be something where they just gave it their all to just sort of have one more run with kind of these core of players? You know, even Steph Mayor, like, what's going to happen with her? Her wife is already retired, and Bianca Sierra, like, is she going to step away as they could, you know, continue to raise their family? Like, what is Tigres going to look like in the future? So when you have a team that's going in there with gunning for everything, you're like, that's a dangerous team. But Gotham looked so lethal on this night. I'm quite frankly more surprised that the result ended up playing out the way that it did. Mm-hmm. So narrow the scoreline on a penalty, a rebound penalty. Wild teams, only in CONCACAF. Congratulations to Gotham.
Only in CONCACAF is pretty much the best way to put that. You're exactly right, though, Sandra, about this Tigres side, because they are coming off of essentially a historically bad season for them, because they got bounced in the quarterfinals. They finished 5th in Clausura. They were dealing with so many injuries, as you mentioned, at the end of this year, and they're used to winning. They've won their league 6 times. That's a record in Liga MX, and they couldn't finish. So this was their chance to prove that they are not only the best in Mexico, as they want to be in Liga MX Femenil, but also the best in the continent, the best in CONCACAF. And so often we talk about NWSL being one of the best leagues in the world, and Liga MX Femenil is saying we are right up there with that conversation. And this tournament, these competitions, the semifinal and the final, I think proved that these teams can hang. It needs to be in season, right? There's a lot of factors going against Club America and Tigres in this game. Meanwhile, Gotham and Portland, they're in the middle of their season. They're on the incline. They are on the up and up in terms of form and how they're playing right now.
Well, that's always going to be the hardest thing, right? Is to get the seasons on the same track, and where all the teams in the tournament are clicking and in form. But Lisa, I had a game last night. I was not able to watch this game, but you just said Gotham dominated. Gotham has not been dominating in NWSL. What was the difference that you saw from Gotham in this game that they need to bring with them when they come back into season in 2 weeks?
Gotham was adjusting to what Tigres was giving them, because I think surface level in this competition, it was okay. It's going to be really physical. Tigres is going to hit us when we're down. They're going to not take no for an answer. It's going to be a much more physical end-to-end game. And Gotham leaned into that. They said, okay, we've got our front runners of Jace and Esther up top. Let's send them. Get them in behind. Midge Purse, if we can get her 1v1 go. And in NWSL league play, I think Gotham's trying to play with it too much. They're trying to build up through their midfield or build out of their back so much with Ann-Katrin Berger. That didn't really happen in this game because Tigres had Tembi Katlana running her down in the back. And Gotham was like, all right, let's send it. Let's go. And when you get Midge Purse going 1v1, she drew the penalty, the first one that came in this game. She stepped up to take it, and then it was Itzel Gonzalez, the goalkeeper for Tigres, who stood on her head during this game. She saved the first penalty. Then there was a second penalty that came. Emily Sonnet got essentially body slammed to the ground. She leaned into it a little bit, but it was a bit of a bear hug tackle. And Gonzalez saved that penalty as well. She saved 2 penalties in this game.
Yeah.
And that's the Gotham that we see in NWSL, where they're not putting away penalties, where they're not being really clinical in those small moments. It was the follow-up that Esther was able to score, and that was the difference.
We know Emily Sonnet likes the dark arts, so we know that she plays into that. But you need to do that in finals. You have to be willing to play the game and find the reward. You mentioned, Sandra, some players that might be leaving. I like to stir the pot a little. Like, where do we want these players to go? Where would you want them to go in NWSL?
Oh I want Jackie Ovalle in NWSL.
Yeah. Selfishly, right I mean, I would love to see Ovalle in NWSL. Long rumors if you've been around. I mean, at one point tying her to Houston. I think at one point even tying her to Utah, dropping some insider stuff, but yeah, I'm curious, what are the teams right now that are not desperate, I want to say, for winger. But goal scoring. But I was gonna say, I think a player like Ovalle could do some very special stuff with the Courage. Of course, people will be like, you need to center Chicago because Chicago needs help. I also want this player to thrive, and I just don't know if that's the system that's going to work. And I would love to see Ovalle in a Courage set up, coached by Sean Haas. See how it goes.
But could the formation that they're playing right now put her in the best position? Right, we really haven't seen much of wingers in terms of Tyler Lucy, right? This formation that Nate has to set up with now, it doesn't have 7 and 11s, and that's where Ovalle thrives.
Lucy's getting back in it. I was like, and some people might be like,
because she's willing to adjust and play other positions. Is Ovalle?
I'm curious if maybe Thorns could be an option for Ovalle, but it's who do you take out at this point? Again, selfishly, I want to see this player week in and week out. I would just take her anywhere at this point.
Louisville.
Yeah, but who are you going to take out right now?
I don't know.
That's a tough one too, right?
I just want her in NWSL.
Good question. I'm glad I asked it.
Yep.
It is a good question. Yeah, I hope that's the next step for Jackie Ovalle and what's to come, because we need a little more from her. She's so fun to watch on the ball. She's so good in tight spaces. The way that her and Hermoso play off each other, it's really fun. So if you put Ovalle, I'm just looking at North Carolina because we mentioned them, next to Sanchez and Shaw and Manaka, it is going to bring out something different in Ovalle that we have seen moments of with the Mexican international team, with Tigres, but she also has to shoulder a lot of the pressure on these teams that she's on. If she goes where there's some other big superstars, it takes a little pressure off you. You can play a little more free, a little more relaxed. And I would love to see that from Ovalle.
There's two teams coming in 2026, I heard. So I don't know. I mean, there's 2 other options there. I heard Boston and Denver might be getting teams. So we'll see.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned, I guess.
Stay tuned. We'll let you know. A lot of questions about what this means for Gotham. Hey, it's a trophy, a huge trophy. We will be asking McCall Zerboni if she's getting one because I'm curious. It is maybe a little bit of extra money for this club as well. It is a win for them in a tournament to claim their stake as the best team in CONCACAF in North America, but also it qualifies them for the FIFA Women's Champions Cup. That is the inaugural tournament happening in January of next year. It'll be the club champions from all 6 confederations. So that is Arsenal as well that competed. It is Auckland United. I believe they won Oceanic. The Asian Cup also played this weekend. I don't know. I'll let you guys know later. This is all just coming off my head. I'm trying my best here. But it also qualifies Gotham for the 2028 FIFA Women's Club World Cup that is to come. So big things down the line if you're a Gotham fan. Congrats to Gotham and Esther and their 1-0 win as the inaugural champions of the W Champions Cup.